just as we start. Welcome to the program. The name of the show is The Word.
Sports,
We're back after
news, stuff.
That is the hashtag, the tagline.
The ethos.
It is our methodology. We are back after a week or so off, back to cover the big happenings in sports. I have to be honest, we really do pick our moments on this show pretty well, I would say. I mean, sometimes I'm just I have a few free moments. I'll be like, oh man, we didn't do a show last week. Like, should we go on? Should I text and get this going? But we broadcast when we have to broadcast.
Basically, the world decides when we broadcast.
But you're saying the world decides. I'm saying we decide.
Well, we decide, but listen. We don't broadcast unless some shit goes down for us to talk about.
That exactly. I mean, there's no point in going on air if you don't have anything to talk about. I mean, we generally don't have anything to talk about, even when there is stuff that happened.
We could just go on the air and be right every week, but we like to try to pace it out a little bit.
Yeah, you do need to kind of.
I'm just gonna say, somebody on this podcast called the Cavs winning the finals.
Yeah, and it wasn't me. In fact, I was openly rooting against them because
that same person might have wavered during the middle of Game 2 and wished he had never made that prediction. So, but by not having a show, I didn't hit the panic button, and I looked like a genius.
See, that's the problem with modern sports broadcasting, is that you have to have something to say all the time, when really sometimes you just have to let things happen. And I'm amazed at these guys that have to go on. It's like news, or it's like cable news. I mean, there's not always something big happening. I mean, there are big things that happen a lot, but these cable news, I mean, that's my favorite segment from the old Daily Show was the slow news day, where they would just highlight the crap that these big cable news networks would try to turn into a big story when there was nothing going on. That being said, let's not. This is
not a slow news day here on the Word.
It is not.
It is the dare I say the antithesis of a slow news day.
Wow, big news out of the NBA. I put this in the title of the YouTube clip, which is LeBron redeems himself. Now, my question is, and I didn't
redeems himself for what?
And that's where I want to go with this, because the impression that I get,
are you in the Mighty Mighty Bosstones? 90s ska joke. Check. For those of you playing the word drinking game, you can just go ahead and mark that one right off.
How did you? I hadn't even finished the sentence, and this guy's already out there. The Mighty Bosstones. Woo. So, that being said, yes, the impression that I get is that this means that it was all worth it. Everything. Leaving. Coming back. Publicly feuding with your coach. Threatening to leave in one way or another next year. Becoming kind of that bad guy during the playoffs that I really hadn't seen from him, at least in the Miami teams. It was kind of refreshing to see him square up with Steph Curry, and not in a way that was borderline. It was just kind of like, yeah, I'm here. You got a problem with me? Step. And when I say redeems himself, that's what I'm saying, was it all leading up to this moment? And does this mean that he is okay?
No, he was okay before. I tend to, it's tough sometimes with sports because you get trapped in the ends justify the means type of thinking.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's true, but sometimes, not to sound like Sam Hinkie, but you have to look at the process. And sometimes you can do everything right and it doesn't work out. It doesn't mean you made the wrong decision. It doesn't mean you weren't great. It just, there's a lot of variables, a lot of factors. So much of this is luck. If Bogut doesn't get hurt, if Draymond decides maybe I shouldn't punch someone in their groin for a third time, like so many things had to go this way for it to work out. And if it doesn't, and they lose in 6 or lose in 7, I mean, even last night, if Kyrie misses a 3 or LeBron is a millisecond later and Iguodala's shot goes off the backboard first and he blocks it, it's a goaltend. Does it mean that LeBron's not great? No. And there's always this rush to contextualize and put in a historical context. And, he's one of the 5 best players ever now. I understand that sports, to a certain extent, is a results-oriented business enterprise, whatever you want to call it. That, you can't play it. Well, everybody gets a trophy and everybody's great and all that. Results do matter. But when you're splitting hairs with LeBron of, whether 2 and 5 in the finals is different than 3 and 4 or any of that, I just think we overanalyze all that stuff. And really going into last night, where he is, which is pretty high up in the order of things for me, really wasn't going to be determined last night. As great as he was, I wasn't willing to knock him for it, and I don't think I'm willing to, maybe upgrade him more than I was prepared to. It just we get a little too we're a prisoner of the moment sometimes. We need to # give it a minute from time to time. And
Ooh.
as great as he was in that game, and as great as that game was, it wasn't the prettiest basketball game. I mean, especially those last 4 or 5 minutes. Like, I think the 2 teams went like 1 for 13 combined the last 4.5 minutes, something like that. It was, it was great basketball, but it wasn't great basketball, if that makes sense.
It does. And this is why I've said it many times before, but this is why come November, the American people are going to make the right choice in writing in Richard Bruce McAllister Abernathy for president, because he's able to synthesize things and just, as we said, # give it a minute and just put everybody at ease. The
only thing you should # give a minute is not voting for me when you step in that booth come November. I am humbly accepting all votes that anyone wants to throw my way.
Now, remember, I'm just going to quick sidebar on the politics, but we're going to get back. We got a lot of sports to cover. Before that, though, one quick shout out to my boy Klein, who's a loyal viewer to the program. I got a chance to catch up with him last week. And it's funny. People watch this show that I had no idea watched this show. So I guess that means we should keep doing it. But sometimes I'm like, I don't know. No one's going to watch. And then someone's like, hey, what's up with the podcast this week? You guys ain't doing it this week? What's going on?
A little known fact, Joe Biden watches it on the train to and from Delaware.
He doesn't, first of all,
That's what makes it so amazing that he watches it.
Yeah.
That he lives in D.C. now and he still watches it on the train back to Delaware. And that's a commitment.
Oh, my gosh. Well, I was going to say, the quick sidebar I had on the politics was that I said Donald Trump was going to be president a couple months ago on this show.
Yeah,
I'm sticking to it.
Of all the times for you to be right on something, James.
I know, the one time ever.
You picked the worst possible time.
It couldn't be any scarier, but at the same time, it's kind of like, it's sort of like when you're in college. Everyone can identify with this. You've got so many papers. You got so many things going on. You have all these commitments. You have no money. You got to figure out where you're going to live next semester or whatever. At some point, you're just like, you know what? Whatever. I'm just going to bed. I'm just going to go to sleep. These papers are going to be there. This lease that I can't afford is going to be here when I wake up. So, yes, I'm going to wake up. He's going to be president. I still have to wake up and go to work or class, to use the college example. Anyway.
Listen, I envision a scenario 6 months from now, maybe a little longer in the future, that maybe you're back in the D.C. area visiting some friends. You're at a Chipotle, and a man in front of you says, I'm a great president, and I deserve 2 fajitas. And it's going to be your boy Donald J. Trump.
See, it's funny because I'm like knocking my computer all over the place. You know, it's funny. First of all, we're not going over the fajitas thing again.
No, we're
We
not.
did
We're
like a
not.
whole
We're not.
diatribe on it a couple weeks ago. But I'm like just now catching up on some of the memes, the Trump memes, because there's things that apparently he's saying over and over again. Like, I didn't know the wall. We're going to build a wall. They're going to pay for it. Because I'm a Game of Thrones person. So I saw that, and I guess I was like, I guess he must have said that. And so some of these new ones, I mean, it's just, I mean, you just have to, I guess, do we have to just be entertained by it? But it's like that movie they made with Robin Williams in like the late aughts that was terrible, where he's like a comedian and he runs for president. And it's like this supposed to be this like, you know, farcical thing. Like nobody that silly would ever get this much attention. And, you know, but it's like we're approaching that. It's like, is it funny or is it scary? That being said, but wait, well, let's
we're straying a little bit from the point, but speaking of Donald Trump, Skip Bayless.
Wow.
Apparently there's something about how Kyrie should have been MVP and not LeBron, and whether it was just him being a troll or not. But it sort of made me think of a point that, and it sort of relates to what you were talking about earlier with LeBron, but I think we're just bored by how great this guy is. And you look back in the mid-'90s and you're like, how the hell did Jordan not win the MVP every year? How did Karl Malone win the MVP? Like, stuff like that. I know if it's Karl Malone, great player, Hall of Famer. But come on. Like, it's just voter fatigue more than anything. It's not fun to vote for the same guy anymore. And it's like, it's this guy. It's like, here's what I try to liken it to. Like, if you play Madden or you play NBA Live or whatever your FIFA, whatever your game of choice is, and you've got your team and you always play with that team and that's the team you root for and all that stuff. You're like, oh, this is boring. I'm going to make crappy team X be really good now. And you like start a franchise with that team and you want to do that. That's sort of what voting for somebody who's not LeBron is. Oh, let's get somebody else up there, and then maybe this thing could be interesting. Rather than just recognizing the greatness of one of the all-timers. And I guess, there's an argument to be made that he, last season more than this, he took some time off and, took that couple-week vacation where he's hanging out with D-Wade and working out and different things. And he's de-emphasized the regular season to an extent, which I understand if people want to knock him for that a little bit. But the thought that this guy wasn't still the guy, especially in hindsight now, is just silly.
I think there's along those lines, one of my kind of business coaches, mentors, whatever you want to call them, has a kind of a running theme. And in fact, some of the people that I've been connected to through him, it's all a running theme, which is if there's something that's actually very boring, excellence and consistency and being the best at what you do is not a very exciting thing. Because
just ask Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
Seriously, that wasn't meant to be a joke. That's exactly the Tim Duncan era. And LeBron has a little more flash than the big fundamental, but the theory carries through.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's like, here's a guy that doesn't make mistakes, that you can rely on, that he didn't hit a big shot because it's a big shot, like the time in the game or whatever. It's just because he hit it when it needed to happen. Whereas I think it's not as dramatic. It's like, oh, he hit another bank shot, like 12-footer. But you know what? We really needed that. And how many times have guys been in situations to make an easier shot and haven't done it? And so Tim Duncan's a great example. And then you have, when you look at someone like LeBron, there's more of a little bit of personality, obviously a little bit more flair, but we do tend to take it for granted, and it's not exciting, but we expect it at the same time. And so when he's not performing, all of a sudden it's like this whole like, oh well, geez, is he jumping the ship? And I think that's a very good point on going back to what you said. It's like, what's more interesting? What's a better story? When really it's like the person that just grinds it out, does it every day, the Kobe mentality. Like, I'm going to take 2,000 shots a day, regardless of how my team is doing, regardless of whether they're going in or not. I'm going to do it. Practice and take as many shots a day as I can, and then in the game as well.
He takes less in practice, I think.
Who takes less in practice?
I think Kobe takes less in practice in a game.
No. I thought his whole thing was he takes 2,000 in the morning.
That was a joke that he shoots a lot in his games. But thanks for playing, James. Appreciate it.
I'm right there with you.
By the way,
I'm not a part of Mensa. I only have a bachelor's degree. Okay, I want everyone to understand that.
Hey, same here. But a new thing, and I'm a little. I mean, I remember seeing it on Twitter over the last couple months, but before that, I hadn't really heard of it. But I have a weekly pickup game that I play in, and the last couple weeks, especially where somebody throws up a bad shot and off offensive rebound, somebody scores, and they put their hand up, they're like, Kobe assist. Wow. And that's like a thing now. If you airball or just brick one hard off the backboard and your team scores, you yell Kobe assist, and it's kind of fun. Hey, man, you got to put it in there somehow. Okay, yeah. You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take because somebody else missed a shot. Did I do that right? I think I did that right. I thought you were going with the Michael Scott quote on that. How did he modify it again? He said, I forget exactly. I think he attributed it to Wayne Gretzky instead of Michael Jordan. Also. Wait. Actually, I think it is a Wayne Gretzky. You know what though? It gets messed around. I've seen it quoted for both, and it's like, geez. Yeah. But it's like the gin and juice cover that everybody said was fish, but everybody knew wasn't fish. It's like that in quote form. Who did? Wait, that was but what country band did that? I know which one you're talking about. That's the thing. Nobody. Well, people know, but I don't know. I couldn't tell you right now. But I know what you're talking about. But by the way, another good Chapel Hill memory. When I didn't watch The Office, the American version, because I was a TV snob about the British version. But then, like, you forced me to watch an episode, and it's the one where, like, Michael Scott gets banned from making jokes. And then Jim, that's what she said? Yeah. Jim trolls him with the, like, does that include that's what she said? And he's like, well, you always left me smiling and satisfied. And he goes and goes and goes. And then he finally gets him to say it. And really, really hard. That's what she said. He just can't control himself anymore. It's fantastic. Gosh. That was amazing TV. Okay. So, LeBron. Can we talk about the block for a second? Let's. Because I always like my friend, a good friend of the program, Jehoon, who's shooting a really cool documentary about female football players, like gridiron football players right now. Used to be an NBA photographer, still does a little bit of freelance work for them, I believe. And I always loved the story of the finals because he was always assigned to the finals in pictures because I never really watched the games during my last like 5 or 6 years kind of roaming around. And summers were always like nuts. So the images that I saw of it today kind of summed it up. But let's dive into it a little bit more. I mean, for me, it's the best block I've seen since Tayshaun Prince on Reggie Miller back in, was that 04? I want to say, where he chased down Reggie. Was that the year I want to say that was the year the Pistons went on to win the title. But it might have been 03. It was either 03 or 04. I'm checking now, and I'm going to play it on the show. We're going to share the YouTube. But it was just incredible. It's a tie game, 2 minutes left. Yeah. Nobody can score. Everybody's struggling. And it looks like they have a breakaway and Iguodala's going to score. And then just at the last, almost literally the last possible second. Yeah. LeBron blocks it and they maintain possession. It was just – it's a play that I don't know if anybody else or I guess somebody else could make that play. But it's a short list. Yeah. It's a really short list. Go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off there. No, it seems like it's gotten lost in the shuffle a little bit over the last 24 hours. That is about the Kyrie 3 or this play or that play, and rightfully so. But, I mean, is that his signature play? other than if that ridiculous dunk had gone down right at the end of the game.
Yeah.
I mean,
are you saying is the block the
the
signature
block.
play?
Is that his Havlicek stole the ball or the Bird steals the inbounds pass?
Ooh, see, but you don't see now. You're trying to like put him up there with that.
No,
Yes, yes,
I
no,
say,
yes.
does it? Is that on like one of his, if not his defining play, like one of like it's on the short list for sure. I would think.
I'm gonna put it up there. I'm also sharing the screen. Hold on, I'm gonna put a screen share up there. We're going to show the block here.
Oh yeah, there we go.
All right, present to everybody. This is great. We're doing like a group presentation. I'll tell you what, this app is pretty good though. Like I could actually like share it from here, and yeah. All right, here we go. Here's the block. I'm gonna put sound on, see if it works. Oh, the all decade, huh? Boy, they really know how to churn out content. I'll tell you what.
See, once you hit play, you went completely silent for me, and I saw and heard nothing until you stopped playing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So
See,
maybe
like,
it goes on the mix, but I'm not on it. I don't know.
Sorry, I got some audio there. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Okay. I'm gonna put it up there though. Yeah, I mean, I certainly like putting that as a signature moment. I think he still has a few left.
Oh no,
obviously.
he's not done.
Yeah. Now, here's what I want to go into real quick, and then we'll move on to your boy OJ. But did we want the Warriors to win?
I didn't.
Did they want to win?
Here's the thing, and that's a great setup of the question. You asked the first question, ask the second question. When I was watching the post game last night, which by the way we don't have to get into it, we can save it for another time. But if you haven't seen J.R. Smith's presser after the game, pause this, Control-click in your browser, open up a new tab, and go watch JR just tears streaming down his face, talking about his mom and dad and hugging it out with his dad on Father's Day after winning the title. Fantastic, fantastic stuff. But I was watching some of the Warriors, pressers after the game, specifically Steph and Kerr and to an extent Draymond. They seemed like a team that was just glad the whole freaking thing was over.
I mean, but I got that impression watching Game 5.
That they weren't even. I mean, obviously they were happy that they lost, but they didn't seem devastated. And I think had the roles been reversed and Cleveland wouldn't have won, that everybody in there would have been devastated. And I mean, Clay seemed pretty upset. And hey, look, just because somebody's not in there, crying or going Cam Newton on everybody and being salty and being, visibly, physically, upset that they lost, doesn't mean that they didn't want to win. I'm not trying to go anywhere with any of that. It's not a comment on that. It's just that I just think that they were so emotionally and even physically exhausted, especially after the back-to-back 7-game series. I mean, that OKC series took a lot out of them. Like, it took everything they had to get back. And we say it all the time. Now it's a common announcer thing, in games. That, it's like, oh, they used up all their energy just coming back to tie it, and they couldn't get over the hump and take the lead, and they wound up losing. Like, you see it all the time in college basketball. A team that's down 15, and they make that big run, and they get it back to 2 or 3, or they maybe even tie it, and then, boom, just like that, it's an 8-point game again, and they never recover. And it was more of the macro version of that in a sense, that they spent so much trying to get back, and then they played so well those first couple games And then once that slip happened, they just couldn't regain their footing, and they couldn't charge back, and that was sort of it. And dealing with all the records they said, the pace at the beginning of the year, the undefeated streak, the 73 wins, then just everything in the playoffs. It just seemed like they were just kind of done. And it also kind of reminds me of that Miami San Antonio series a couple years ago, the second time, where the way the Spurs lost it that year before, they just had that hunger and that eye of the tiger just every single day of that is not happening again. We are winning. We are winning the title. And even if you don't have that complacency after you win, even if you try and you bust your ass and you do everything you did the year before, it's just human nature that it can't have that same do or die type of, element to it when you hadn't won a title before. It's just, you just can't quite get back to that point. There is absolutely no other alternative than for us to win. If it's just a little bit, it's just that much. It's just that much of a difference, and sometimes that's all it takes. It's the 3 inches of difference and it being one of the greatest blocks of all time instead of a goaltend. It's all these little things, and it's so hard to get back to that point, and it's so hard to pull something like that off. And if there's just a minuscule amount that isn't quite exactly where it needs to be, it can all come crumbling down. It's just amazing to watch the whole thing play out, and just to know how fragile the whole thing is.
And I mean, that's the thing that I really like about studying previous teams. Like, I just read the book about Bill Belichick, Education of a Coach, which, I've, gone full spectrum with him, but the book came so highly recommended. And then I read 2 of the books on Phil Jackson. But you look at Phil Jackson's three-peat teams, and because he had what? He had 2 three-peat teams with the Bulls, right?
Correct.
And then he had
one with the Lakers,
and then 1 or 2 solo titles with the Lakers.
And they won back-to-back 9 and 10.
Okay.
Beat the Magic and the Celtics.
And, it's like what you're saying just made me think about, it's so hard to consistently have that hunger to where you're not going to lose. And I think that you saw that with the Warriors. It's like, well, we could match that intensity, but maybe we can't. Maybe we physically just can't do it. We just went through this season where we pushed ourselves to the limit to get this, not to get the record, but it's like this implicit, like, you always have to be on playing playoff intensity because now history's on the line. So can we even match that intensity? It goes back to the argument about, is the season too long? And
I don't even know if it's that. It's that it's the difference between a choice and a reflex.
Okay.
Where it's just the extra synapse or 2 that has to fire for you to make that decision, rather than just, it's that fight or flight response type of thing. It's just anything that's just a hair off from that leaves you susceptible for something like this happening. And that's the margin for error sometimes. That's just how it is.
I like that. The choice and a reflex. That is like some next level, like, sports psychology right there. Wow.
Hey, that's what you get here on The Word. Sports news, and I would qualify that under stuff. But as great as the Spurs were and had been for 2 decades, they've never won back-to-back titles. And part of my language, we'll have to make this internet TVMA. It's a hard fucking thing to do. Yeah. You have that target on your back all the time. And in addition to the fact that you're coming off of a 100-plus game season. So you're already coming into the next season tired. The Sixers have been home for 10 weeks. Guys have had their surgeries. They've had their bumps and bruises taken care of. They're starting to rehab. They're looking at off-season conditioning and training program. They're getting in the gym. The Spurs or the Warriors and the Cavs are going to be early July. Just getting we just need to take that week or two off and just kind of decompress. So it's going to be July 4th for and you're just kind of behind and you're tired, and it's just the intensity of those games is so much, and it just builds and it compounds when you do it year after year after year, and it's just so hard to maintain that that nth percentile of your focus and commitment and drive and everything. And just inevitably, it takes a very special team and the right situation and some luck. And sometimes shit doesn't go your way. And I don't think it should diminish what the Warriors did. I really don't. I mean, yes, they did win the title, but as I said at the beginning of the show, you can't get so caught up in the ends justify the means attitude that you miss what happens in the middle and you miss the process. And, does that maybe mean, hey, they're not the greatest team ever? Okay. That's a bar argument in the first place. And one that even if they won the title, some people thought they wouldn't have won. So what's the big deal? Let's appreciate the greatness. It was an unbelievable season, an unbelievable finish, a great Game 7. I'm just glad that I was there to watch it, and we'll remember it, and that will always go down as one of the games that I remember watching the most, and that's what makes this game so great. That's why I love it.
The name of the program is The Word, wrapping up Game 7 of the finals here. Richard Bruce Buckets Abernathy, as they call him in his pickup league on Wednesday nights.
Mick Buckets.
We need to start broadcasting those. Yeah. Do you remember? I don't know if you were around when I had this idea.
We did highlights of intramural games?
Well, yeah, we did highlights, but I wanted to do
great.
them live. But now the technology is that you could actually do it.
We could have done it. We were so ahead of our time, dude.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, okay, I'm not even going to start because you're trying to get me riled up here again. I'm not even
How much would people pay for Woolen League Pass?
Bro, you think I'm playing, dude? I'd charge $10 a month. Be like, yo, you want to see the best pickup basketball in Woolen? Yo, hey, HBO, you got HBO Go. We got Woolen Go. Gwoolen.
We would have accepted bribes of teams to feature them more.
Oh, are you kidding me? People would have paid it. Dude, some of the people I went through my pickup basketball phase where it was like essentially the only thing I really wanted to do in college. I had so many phases like that.
Did we ever play pickup?
I played with you one time in Woolen, and it was just because you at this point were already living off campus, so you kind of
it was just a pain in the ass to, yeah.
But I was on campus. Basically, there was only like maybe a cumulative of 3 or 4 semesters when I was in college that I wasn't living on campus. Like, and definitely like freshman through junior year. No, I was on campus. Actually, no, senior year I lived in. I think I was in Ehringhaus because I was doing the ResNet thing again. Yeah. Anyway, no.
Oh, by the way, shout out to Glenn Lennox.
He used to drop me off there.
Just because.
But no, you and I played one time in there, and I remember it was a really good group. But you know why it was a really good group? Because when you play in Woolen as often as I did, you play with the same people over and over again. That you kind of get pigeonholed into like a certain team or a certain like kind of level. So like sometimes you rise above that. You get to play with like really good players. Other times you kind of you just have to stay in your lane. But no, we played it. I remember it was good. It was a good run. I think we were on the same team. But I think you had brought the roommates and stuff like those guys.
Yeah, probably Mike K and Joel dominating.
Yeah. Mike.
By the way, you said something, and I don't. We can move on for the finals. But I do want to get one point out there. It was a phrase. Tristan Thompson said it last night. on SportsCenter. I thought it was a great phrase that I'd never heard before, and I guess it's kind of his thing. He said, "Star in your role." That he's one of the he knows his limitations. He knows what he's there for. He knows what he's there to do, and he wants to do it the best he can. I'm a big fan of saying "stay your lane," but I think I'm gonna set that off to the side, and I'm gonna go with "star in your role" for the next. I think it's applicable in sports life all across the board. Of know what you do and do it well.
I mean, that's the thing. Again, going back to the Belichick book, I just read it, so it's fresh on the brain. But like, that's the thing that I think set him apart, and that's why he got the chances he got, having never played. And he's I mean, he's in his 60s, right? He's old school guy. So like,
he's a lacrosse guy.
Yeah, and you grew up in that like military. I think it was a Navy background, so a lot of lacrosse in that area. And his dad was involved in lacrosse, but his dad was also a big time football scout. But the reason why he got the chances he did is he just decided, all right, I'm going to be the scout. I'm going to be the analysis guy. And at that time, nobody liked to do it. Now it's kind of in vogue, sabermetrics and all that stuff. But back then, nobody wanted to look at film. And he decided, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be the best at it. And that's how he got all these chances. That's how he got a head coaching job. I don't think he was 40 yet. That happens a lot now. But when he did it in 1990, that never happened.
Yeah. Well, and sort of to the know your role, like he was really one of the early adopters of kind of the specialization in various parts of the game, like especially with running backs, with linebackers, of guys who fit the specific need on your team.
Mm-hmm. And how do I get the value out of that guy? And
how do I emphasize what he can do and not what he can't, and how do I get those guys so that we have the yins going with the yangs, rather than trying to find, we got to find the guy who does everything. Yeah, because there are a lot of those guys walking around.
Right. It's if you haven't read it, truly great read, really quick. I've read it in a week, and that was like on subway or whatever, on commuting trains to work, and like every now and then at night. Really good read, but it's just like just the amount of commitment that he kind of put into like something. Again, that was your role. That was what he did. He didn't take much money, but he did it. He got exposure, and it's great for sports too. Like what? Like isn't this? Everybody wants to be a star. It's just maddening.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just maddening.
Like all these guys declaring for the NBA draft this Thursday. And like half of these guys, like there's more underclassmen that declared for the draft than there are draft spots. Like, where do you guys see? Like, look, and if the whole goal is, hey, I'm done with school. I know I'm not going to the NBA. I can't do this. I'm just going to turn pro. Maybe I'll catch on somewhere. I'll try to go play overseas. I'm just done with it. Then, hey, that's your prerogative. That's fine. More power to you. I wish I could do that. But it just seems like so many people have these delusions of grandeur. They don't know themselves. Like they don't examine. There's a lack of self-awareness, and they're listening to what other people are telling them, or they just think that they're better than they are, think they can do this or do that, and they can't. And there are roles for people. We saw it all during the playoffs. Steven Adams, Tristan Thompson. Even last year with Dellavedova there for a while. I mean, that sort of turned back into a pumpkin this year. But there are still roles and times where people who aren't, hey, I'm an all-star, going to take over the game type players, can really find a role and win. And really, I've heard people say it before, so I'm not breaking any new ground here, but winning takes care of everything. If you're on the Super Bowl team or the NBA Finals team, like, win and you will get paid somewhere, somehow, because you want to. Winning takes care of everything. So find your role, do what you have to do, and shit will generally work out.
I mean, it's amazing. I mean, I've gone through that process with my personal kind of life in the past 6 to 8 months with some of the transitions I've been through. And one of the things that I did realize is along the lines of what you're saying. Let me fix my light here. I'm doing like old school. I'm like we used to do lighting on set. I'm like bouncing a light off of a reflector to get onto my face because I'm like twin darknesses right now.
Charlie
midnight.
and Eddie Murphy.
So it's like you want to go for the big, flashy, awesome thing that's going to fulfill your ego. And I did that with with a, in the last calendar year, not even calendar year, actually, now I think about it, just, annual kind of perspective. And it's just funny when you look back at it, you're like, the only reason why I was doing that was because of my ego. Like there was nothing else there. And it's great to have that because you can look back and say, oh, okay, well, that's how I'm thinking about it. But yeah, you look at these guys, declaring for the draft. I work in youth sports, and I see it. I see it with 14-year-olds.
Well, you mentioned the ego thing, and I think part of it is you'd rather someone else tell you no, and then you'd be like, well, yeah, he just didn't like me, or it just didn't work out, or it was somebody else's decision, rather than you voluntarily saying, you know what, I can't do this. Is that it's so much harder to tell yourself no than maybe to put yourself in a position for someone else to tell you no. It's just the psychology of that is just it's difficult, and we all struggle. I mean, I struggle with it all the time. So
yeah. You mentioned self-awareness. That's something that wow. I mean, talk about a life hack. All these life hacks on Twitter now. I mean, just take 5 minutes, and and yeah, it's funny, because we're looking at it from the sports perspective, and the crazy thing about it is the thing that's scary, and I witnessed this with my daily kind of coaching hobby. It's not a hobby. I mean, it is a job, and it's like there are people that are going to take advantage of that ego, and they're going to make money off of you. And I'm telling you right now, this exists for me with my 14, 15, 16-year-olds. I see it, and I'm just like I almost texted one of my other mentors tonight after a coaching event, and I would just want to be like, what did I get myself into with these people? Like, this is a jungle. It's a circus. Like, there are so many things that we have to deal with on the field every day that is already difficult, that keep me up at night. How am I going to do this? Where is he going to play? What are they going to do? And then I have to deal with this fact that somebody's coming along telling you that you can play professionally, and then if they just pay you this or this, I'm like, what? So these guys, I mean, these guys declaring and going pro to, make it a little bit more relevant to like pro sports. It's like the bug that gets put in their ear, probably at a very young age, maybe even by their family. I mean, how do you can't counteract that? You just have to, you watch these guys that just bounce around, if they even get in the league, 10-day contracts, grind it out in the D League, go overseas. I mean, some portion of it is love of the game, sure. But how much of it is trying to prove the unprovable, which is as often as there are guys that, the late bloomers, the guys that played overseas and come over and grind it out, that's a little bit more of a long shot now than ever, I would say, even though we have improved European scouting. Sorry, go ahead.
It's funny to see you sort of are what you are at a certain point.
Especially late in your career, right? Because you've already
after your early 20s. I mean, that's why that's part of why some of these guys come out, is that they'd rather take the 19-year-old with the quote, and if you're playing the Jay Billis drinking game at home, go ahead and get that beer ready. Upside, that they'll take the 19-year-old rather than the 22-year-old, even if they're equal, because the 22-year-old is already improved to that point, and that we're, in theory, the 19-year-old has more room to grow from the same point, and they have 3 extra years to do it. So, I mean, you really see once guys are in their early 20s, that's sort of they are what they are, and they're either going to stick in the league. And then there are a few exceptions due to injury or the late bloomer or the wrong situation or changing their game or the league changing, whatever. Those things do happen, but pretty much, the guys who you think are going to be good are good. And the outliers stand out and you remember them more, but it's sort of like you remember the 7-2 offsuit that you won when you flopped, 7-7-2 and you had a full house. You don't forget the 99 other times you just flushed money down the toilet and should have folded the hand.
Yeah, like, dude, what is a more tempting hand than 7-2? Like, you're like, come on, I should play it. Come on, the flop could be good.
Yeah. Well, it's like, you see the people, like, especially when, during like the poker boom, I guess you could say, during the mid 2000s when they were televising it and everybody wanted to play in college and every other brother was playing and doing all this stuff. And so whether it was like the family game or whatever, where you play with like my sister, I had no idea what she was doing. And she would get like mad, be like, "Oh, I can't believe I folded that 6-3, and like 3 6s came out on the flop." And like, it was like there was no reason for you to play the hand. It should not have worked out. You can't get upset at the outlier results. Once again, trust the process. It's not all about the ends. They don't always justify the means. Trust the process.
The name of the program is The Word, here on the internet and only the internet. Hashtag sports news stuff. Monday nights, let's just say we're going to broadcast on Monday nights now. Richard, Bruce, Vita Coco, Abernathy.
Vita Coco. Wow.
I'm not sure if that stuff actually works, but it's like if I'm like, need a little pick me up, I go for it. And I'm James Mundia.
So we man from the Russian track team, or
yeah, oh boy, I tell you what, talk about it definitely wasn't a slow news week in sports. I mean, what didn't happen? It's just unbelievable.
By the way, I have a scorching hot take / bold statement that I'm going to say for the very end of the show. As a teaser for next week.
No!
That's right. I just teased the tease. Just throwing that out there.
Okay, wait. So, we can't forget that. Let's get to all right. I put this in the title of the show too. We had ESPN taking another stab at O.J. Simpson.
Not choice of words.
That is the.
Wow. Too soon.
I didn't mean to. No, that was totally accidental. I'm dead serious.
You want me to believe that you're that good?
I know I'm not. I'm not that good. I'm not that good. That's completely. I can't believe
it was pun intentional.
That was.
That's bad.
No, I did not mean that.
I meant the pun. The pun was worse than the joke.
Okay, all right. Let me run it back here. ESPN this week last week aired its second attempt at an original piece on the O.J. Simpson situation. Of course, the first one was a combination of things because it was the day the Bronco chase with the opening of the World Cup, with the Mark Messier winning the Stanley Cup, with Arnold Palmer's last
U.S. Open and Rockets Knicks Game 4.
Oh, I thought it was later in the series than that. Was it Game 4?
They were in MSG.
I know that, yeah, because Costas was over there doing his thing. Hold on? Where do you stand on Bill Costas? Hey, but where do you stand on Bob Costas?
I like Costas.
I like him too, but why have I had to? But why have I? I feel like every time he comes on TV, for the past 3 years, when I lived in DC, I was like having to defend Bob Costas. Like, it's Bob Costas.
Well, he had he was at the Olympics and had like pink eye, so that wasn't great.
But here's the thing.
It's really more the source material. Like, what does he do other than baseball?
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. Leading up to Game 7, there was somebody had done a little mashup of old NBA on NBC, like Game 7. I'm guessing Rockets Knicks. They had taken like the Costas VO and the music, but edited in the new shots from Cavs Warriors.
Uh-huh.
And they set it all to the NBA on NBC music, Round Ball Rock, as like their little like opening tease. And I got goosebumps watching it. It was great. Costas was it was fantastic.
I mean, he was unbelievable.
He was great. I mean,
But
he's one of the best ever.
I'm like, but people
Go
like
to
over here
go to
like.
the Emmy vault in his house. Like the guy's incredible. I'm pro Costas.
I just wanted to just get your opinion on that because I was having to defend him like at two separate residences, pardon me, in DC. I'm like having to like defend Bob Costas. Like we're not talking about Chris Collinsworth here, or even John Madden. But even though I think John Madden I love John Madden.
I will
I
say it's
mean,
been yeah. Costas has had an interesting last decade.
well, but
Or
that's
so.
got to be his choice, though, right? He
I would
basically
think
said,
so.
I want to be the face of stuff and pay
Yeah,
me
I want
more."
to do the Olympics. I want to do like the sort of halftime op-ed on Sunday Night Football, and I want to do some baseball games. And yeah, I mean, it seems like he just wanted to sort of tone down kind of what he was doing. Plus, NBC doesn't have as much in the way of sports as it used to,
Yep.
because it had the NBA, it had, it has NFL now, but it didn't there for a little while. It used to have baseball, it doesn't have baseball. It's just a sort of a different animal. But Costas is one of the best ever.
Def. On a side note, I used to get really mad. I don't know. This is a little bit more inside with people that were big time soccer fans growing up in like the early '90s, all the way through the aughts with JP Dellacamera, who's been doing the Copa America broadcast for Fox Sports. And boy, I'll tell you what, I used to get mad that they didn't do JP Dellacamera for World Cup on ESPN because he used to be a ESPN guy. He fell off, man. Oh gosh, it's like, whew. It's anyway. Sorry, that's just a soccer nerd thing. Okay, so let's go back to the OJ thing. Now, I think do we wait? Should we wait until we've watched it, or have you watched it?
I've sadly have not finished part 5 from the other night.
See, I haven't seen any, but I may never because I
got
don't
a little
really.
busy Saturday night, and then obviously yesterday between U.S. Open and Game 7, it just wasn't time. So I got to finish part 5, but it's absolutely incredible.
Really?
Oh, it's fantastic. It's incredibly well done. It's disturbing. It's enlightening. It's thought provoking. There's just so many layers to the whole thing, and it's really put together well. I mean, I'm watching it from maybe a little different. I mean, that's the thing, is that there's so many different viewpoints for people to watch this from. Is I look at it more from being in the TV business and doing long form programming, not that long of form because it's almost 9 hours of content. But being in that world where I'm trying to craft pieces and masterpieces, I could only dream of doing something like this. The flow is incredible. There's no voiceover. The interviews are weaved together spectacularly. The footage, all the archive stuff is great. The raw motion, just all these things are so fantastic. So I love it from that standpoint. Just the pure, well, here's what happened is fascinating. And I talked to my dad last night, and I try to get him all the time to watch stuff of like, oh yeah, you need to watch this, or stuff that is maybe more interesting to me from an industry perspective. And I try to force on him so we can talk about it, but he's like, yeah, whatever. Like he'll watch a couple of the 30 for 30s, but he hasn't been like on board watching all of them and dissecting and analyzing and all this. My dad's already watched all 5 parts. He was breaking it down, and he was he's in the field of law and was an attorney for a number of years, and now is a judge. And obviously we were 9 when the car chase happened, so obviously it's a little more in his prime, mid late 30s of his life. Like he remembers that differently. He remembers OJ when he was a kid or teenager. Like he just has a different viewpoint on the whole thing, and there's just so many ways to look at it, whether you're someone from LA or somebody who went to USC that always saw OJ as that guy, or the racial component of it is fascinating, and they do an unbelievable job of setting up sort of decades in advance, sort of how the climate got to the point that it was, where maybe you kind of understand what happened in the courtroom or with the jury and all these sorts of things. And there's just so many layers to the whole story, and it really is just captivating. And it's a guy I work with said, and he was half joking, but then he's like, actually, he said, that's not a bad idea. He said, it should be mandatory viewing in public schools.
Really? It's that good, huh?
Well, it's more, I mean, he was speaking somewhat hyperbolically. He doesn't mean it like to literally do that, but you can learn a lot about different aspects of American society and race relations and the legal system and celebrity and the elements of race, class, all sorts of elements of our society that make it, for better or for worse, what it is. And there's just little parts of it that stick out and are, whether it's a critique or just a look and to maybe give you a little better understanding of how things are the way they are. And it's just, that whole story is kind of a microcosm of a lot of different aspects of our society, and it's kind of fascinating to see how everything played out and how everything gets portrayed.
Television critic Richard Bruce Roper Abernathy.
Oh, I was hoping for Ebert. Damn it.
Joining us.
Or Malton. I would have taken Malton also.
Okay. Joining us for well, not joining us. He's always on the show, but giving us his
I always feel like a guest, though.
No, get out of here.
No, that's a compliment. I feel pampered.
Oh. I mean, you got to come back and see us sometime. When are you going to be back in LA? Yeah.
Is this the Merv Griffin show? What's going on?
Another good old school TV moment when Kramer gets the old Merv Griffin show set and puts it in his house. I mean, it's just amazing. I feel bad for people because, I get it now. When your parents say things to you like, you don't even get it. You don't even, this isn't funny. You didn't watch this
you didn't
or
watch
that.
MASH.
Exactly. Like, what is the thing that my dad loved all the time?
Andy Griffin show was my dad's show.
I see. I used to watch that when I was a kid too because it was on like in the middle of the day.
Yeah, it was on all the time.
Yeah. Like this, my dad had this one British show, Are You Being Served? It's kind of like if you had immigrant parents, this is what they watched. But now I get it because I'm looking at like TV now and I'm like, man, I'll watch the first season of Seinfeld on repeat. That wasn't even one of the better seasons. I'll watch that on repeat before I sit there and watch Two Broke Girls. Are you kidding me, bro?
By the way, Curb Your Enthusiasm season 9. Let's go.
So hold on. Here's the problem I have.
It's happening.
I know. I saw that it got approved or greenlit. Here's the problem that I have. I'm going to have to actually go back to the very beginning because I've taken, no joke, like an 8-year break from that show.
You don't have to. It's not one of those shows.
But
it's not Game of Thrones. Like
that's true.
You can just hop in. I mean, you should, just because the show's that great. You should watch. I should watch them all again too, just for fun.
I love when Shaq is in the hospital room.
That's one of my favorite ones.
I mean, that's just an amazing episode of television because it's so meta. Because they
wanted to sign the birthday book. He wants nothing to do with it. He becomes a pariah, and everybody thinks it's like it's the worst thing, and he's just secretly just the happiest he's ever been in his life.
I mean, it's just, come on, Two Broke Girls. I mean, come on, man. Anyway, all right. So, well you really sold me.
I will say, if forced to choose between Curb or NCIS Wichita, it could be a tough choice.
Bro, don't even get me started on NCIS, man. I mean, this is you see those commercials, man. Why is Jamie Lee Curtis getting involved? Something like that, man. You got money, girl. She has like a weird arc where she has
those activity checks bouncing. Like, what's going on?
That's what I'm saying. It's like, how much? Like, you only do those shows when you're that age and you're that well established, if you got some problems. Like Billy D. Williams is doing those kinds of shows. That's like the saddest thing ever. Like Lando Calrissian, come on,
Hey,
man.
James. Stay off of Billy D.
Stop. Like that's when you know it's bad. You see someone that you're like, Lando Calrissian was such a cool character, and then you watch him there, you're like, who was your agent in the 80s, man? You got to be getting something off the back end of Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back.
We need to get Brian's song on Hallmark Channel more often. We need to get Billy D those royalty checks.
That's what I'm saying. He's over here doing CBS scripted TV like that. That's not a good situation. I mean, if you love to act, sure, but usually if you love to act, you're not doing it in that realm. You're doing something a little bit more artistically fulfilling.
Listen, somebody's got to take that 15th roster spot on the Nets and the Sixers.
Oof.
It's just the way it goes.
Shouldn't be Lando, man. Okay, anyway, you sold me on. Excuse me. I had a big K diet.
You got a little verklempt there.
I am getting verklempt about Billy D. Williams and this big K diet cherry soda. Never mind. I'm not even gonna get started on that. You sold me. I'm not gonna let you bait me into that. I'm not gonna let you bait me into. I'm not doing it. No, I'm not doing it.
Okay.
I'm not doing it because I'm gonna. It's towards. It's been on for over an hour. I'm over here gonna start rambling.
You're getting a little punchy. We won't go there.
So all I'm saying is you sold me on the OJ.
Should absolutely watch.
You definitely sold me on that. I wish I could download it though, like legally.
You can watch them on the ESPN app.
No, but I'm saying like I need something that I can download to my phone that I can watch on the train on the way to work. Like you can't do that yet with ESPN. You can just stream it. And I don't want to. I'm just not messing with illegal downloads, man. It's just
piracy is so 1990s.
Yeah, or like college. Yeah, I mean, I
download it on Kazam
and hope that it doesn't destroy your computer.
Yeah,
that's another Joe Nick Hafera anecdote we'll have to dive into. He destroyed his computer with LimeWire and like multiple times.
I'm sure it was for sports documentaries also.
Exactly. Blowing this guy up. Good friend of the program, Joe Slaps LaPlera. Okay. I'm sold in the OJ documentary. Let's wait. So you want to get to your scorching hot take here? Because I'm dying to hear. We didn't talk about this in the green room.
We did not.
As we wrap up the program here, I can't. You can't do this because look, it's 11 o'clock Eastern time.
We can delve next week.
No. See, this is what I'm about to cut the plug. I'm about to pull the plug.
Because you want me to save it completely?
But that's the problem. At this point, I can't go to bed with this. Like, what am I supposed to do? Oh yeah, all right, no, tease it. I'm gonna try to control myself. I'm not gonna force you to do the whole thing. You know how I am sometimes.
We should effective immediately.
Oh gosh, I'm sitting down. By the way,
cancel any and all current or future Olympic Games.
Mm-hmm.
The Olympics need to go. They need to go away again. I'm willing. I'm willing to be talked more towards the middle of the aisle on this issue. So I'm kind of taking like an extreme stance, just to start a conversation.
But what is the point of the Olympics anymore? Because at this point, I have enough sports, and I have way too much sports in my life.
There's way too many sports. We're sending professional athletes for damn near everything, most of which, especially this summer, don't want to go. They're billed as much like every new football or basketball or whatever arena and complex is. Oh, they're great for the economics of the area. It'll bring tourists and business. And all it does is just waste taxpayer money and wind up with a bunch of stuff that, you knock down land, you knock down trees to build stadiums that are used for 2 weeks and are never used again, and winds up, leaving especially poor, countries or areas in, billions of dollars of debt, all just to host some parties for a couple of weeks. It's just a massive undertaking. It takes years and years and years and years. The process is much like with FIFA and some other organizations. I don't know how on the extreme up and up the whole thing is. And it just seems like everywhere there's an Olympics, it's worse for the area in the long run than not having them. So why are we doing all this? We can find other ways to have these competitions and do sport-specific world games and competitions in different places that can afford to host them. And much like the Super Bowl, say, hey, the basketball, like the FIBA Americas or whatever, it's going to be in these 5 places and you rotate. Or, hey, the Alpine Skiing Championships are going to be in these couple of places and you rotate. Why force everything into these homogenous areas and make, Rio be designed for 40 different sports when you can have, the indoor cycling in, Mexico City and the World Championships there, and you could have swimming in France. Like, it doesn't make any sense. I just don't understand it.
It does seem like a really inefficient way to put on an event is to basically say, everybody go to this one place and we put everything there and then we leave.
well, not only that, but like you go to Rio, like they're having, much like with the World Cup, when they have games over, some games are 3 or 4 hours away at different places. Like, yeah, it's there, but it's not like it's all like the opening and the closing happens in the same place. But they're shuttling out within the region for all sorts of different things. And I guess, you have the communal place to come, but okay, so. And I know why they were started back up, and there was a time where it was really good for sports and for different countries and for, national pride and competition. And there are benefits to having these types of competitions. But it's 2016. We need to be smarter about how we have them, and we need to do it in a more sustainable way. And it seems like it's more trouble than it's worth for a lot of people. And ultimately, it's worse for the areas it hosts than not having it at all. So once you get to that point, then to me, it's a no-brainer.
Future world sport. Oh gosh, I had it in my head. What's the?
I don't want czar.
I wasn't going to be czar, but it was going to be like czar, but not. Czar is such a goofy word. Yeah. Why all of a sudden did things become czar? Czar was not a good thing. It was a pejorative term, like in the 90s.
Right. Well,
and then now it's like, oh, you're the car czar. Oh, you're the economy czar. I mean, what is this?
If I was a czar, I'd want to be TS, not CZ. I've thought a lot about this. It seems like it seems like it'd be a friendlier Tsar than Cesar.
That's what it is. It's World Sport Commissioner.
Oh.
Richard Bruce Koscielny Abernathy. You have to have like a really fancy name for one of those.
I was looking for Colangelo on that
one. Oh my God. Because yeah, you're right. You could have the world. You could still call it the Olympics, but you just say, and you could do. And you know what you could do? You could do it in the same year, but you basically say, in the winter, it's going to be in these places and these events or in these countries, and then in the summer or whatever you want to call it, it's in these events or in these places. But you could make it a truly global event and not everybody going to one place. And like, we're all like pretending like we're in on the Olympics, but you can't. That's the problem I have with the Olympics now. It's why I kind of shy away from it, is now that they've figured out how to efficiently cover more of it, whether it's live or tape delay.
Well, that's the other part of the problem. Is that
too much choice, right?
Well, not only that, but like with Beijing or even London, it's like some stuff was shown live, some stuff was shown tape delay. Like, you're seeing online that, oh, Michael Phelps did this, and then the race is at 8:00 that night.
Yeah, we need to have better internet etiquette too for this stuff. Like,
well, it's impossible.
I mean, you're right. For the Olympics, it's
listen. in the common workplace, you can't keep people from just like wadding up toilet paper and clogging the toilet and leaving a mess. How are you going to get people to not spoil stuff on the internet?
I was just gonna say. I thought you were gonna say the common workplace. You can't keep people from like dropping like Game of Thrones spoilers like just casually. Like that's what's good.
Or microwaving fish in the microwave again.
Or popcorn. Boy, we are like two old dads at a deli. Like, this tuna is just too moist. Like, we're just like.
And now it's too dry.
Wow. Okay, well then we're going to flesh out the idea of.
You were a little more open to that than I thought. Maybe it's not as shocking.
No, I think that there's, as I've said to my roommate many times, because he's like, "Hey man, sports podcast. You talk about this in the show." I'm like, "You don't understand. I don't like sports. There's too many of them. There's too much going on to keep up with. Like, it's all I can do now. Like, I'm like, all right, Copa America, all right, Euros, and I'm like maxed out. I'm maxed out. That's too much soccer, and I love the game.
Yeah.
Like, there's too much going on. Like, one of my really, kind of coaching heroes is on Twitter, and the Euros is 24 teams. It used to be 16. It used to be a very exclusive tournament, and they add 8 more teams, and he's on there, and he's like, you know what? Some of these games are a great example of why this tournament used to be 16 teams, because some of these games are crap. And it's like, but then I realized actually, and then he tweeted about this tonight, actually almost all of the games have been crap. But like, when I watch the World Cup, for the most part, what sustains the interest is the drama of the event, and that it's once every 4 years, and it's not, it's contained.
Well, beyond that, the drama sort of glosses over, much like with Game 7 last night, that it's going to, that was an unbelievable game because of the drama and the stakes and what was at hand. It wasn't, was it one of the 3 best played games of the series?
No.
Like, yeah, it was close, but that doesn't mean it was a good game. That doesn't mean that it was good basketball. Like, you conflate importance and drama and meaning with actual aesthetic, qualities, which is a problem sometimes.
No, I'm way open to your idea, man. I gave the 2012 Olympics the old college try. You know what? The gymnastics was really great.
Look, I'm sure I'm going to get sucked in this summer, assuming that they even happen and that something terrible doesn't happen from one standpoint or another down there.
It's amazing. Yeah, I mean, that's another thing, too. This is becoming a massive security risk. I mean, this is insane.
Yeah.
I don't like to think
I wasn't even looking at it from that. I mean, I was looking at it more from a health standpoint.
Yeah, there's that. But so you could also become a public health thing. And all these people crammed together. I mean, that's a great plot for, like, the next Outbreak movie. It's like it's a massive global event. And there's all this touching and the Olympic Village. And hey, but shout out to the Olympic Village, though. You've heard about the Olympic Village, right? That it's like...
Oh, I've heard about the Olympic Village.
I mean, that to me, maybe that's like... You know what it's like?
Maybe that's why they still have the Olympics.
I think, dude, I really think that's it. It's like the old guy in your office that gets like really, really jazzed about the Christmas party because it's like his only time of year to just like, yo, we're getting a babysitter. It's going down. They might even get a hotel room. If you have it like off campus, they have it like a hotel ballroom, and they get a hotel room in the same hotel. Like, it's that guy. Like, the party's like whatever. Nobody really wants to go. But you know what? We're going to do it just because it means we get to, like, throw down. And
it's a tradition. It's a tradition.
Oh. But that's another thing. That's another reason why I'm on with your idea. It's like, let's just take 4 years off from the Olympics. What's going to happen?
Well, and at the time when they brought it back, it was like that was the competition. Like, that was when everybody got together for the events around the world. But now there's world championships and there's this series of that. Like, this is not the only time that we get to see Usain Bolt race against these other guys. We see it, all the time. And yes, it means more, and the stage is bigger because we've told people that it's bigger and that it means more. But it's not like we can't see Usain Bolt race Tyson Gay. We could, they'll have another race in 3 months.
Right.
So
no,
but I mean, there's too much money in it for it to ever go away. But we're going to come up with a plan, James, you and me, and we're going to make it real hard for them to turn us down. We're going to figure this thing out.
Those meetings are probably pretty easy to get in on, right? The IOC like future planning meeting. Can I just like get it? It's an Eventbrite.
I got an invite for that earlier today. I just got RSVP.
You know, Evites. I'll tell you what. When I first moved to DC, people were like the Evites were like cracking. Do people still use that?
People are big on the Evites, or some people I know, and they'll get real like, it's like, hey, are you coming to my party? And I was like, yeah, I told you I was coming. Well, you didn't respond on the Evite. I talked to you in person and told you I was coming to your house. Like, what else do you need from me? If I just said yes and said nothing, you would have believed more that I was coming based off the Evite than me talking to you as a human being.
Bro, but he's trying to get those Evite accepted numbers up so that he can be like, hey man, it's gonna be a little party, man. He's gonna get a couple people in now, man. No, I mean,
was that Boomhauer? Or who? What?
That was a combination of things. That's like Boomhauer, like my old roommate. It's me. No, I think he's trying to get them numbers up so he can be like talking to Shorty, like, hey, Rich is coming to the joint, man. You need to come through, man. Come through a little pool party. I'm totally off the rails right now. Okay. Well, no. Okay, we're gonna flesh out Rich's plan for the IOC takeover.
IOC you later is what we're gonna call
it. Oh yes. Wow.
That just came to me. That's why it was so bad.
We're really going for it. No, I like it. I'm on board with it. And I'm not. By the way, no, I'm not watching the Olympics this year. No, I have a job.
You're watching the Olympics.
I'm sorry?
You're watching the Olympics. There's going to be nothing else to do.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Here's why. When does it start?
Actually, August.
No. August, we start practice. I'll be done. I'll have every night of the week, I will be on a soccer field until at least 9:30, 10 o'clock in August. At least.
You know what you should watch instead of the Olympics? The Word Podcast YouTube channel. That's what you should watch.
Ooh, you can. I'm going to subscribe and get notifications for when they're streaming live or when they've posted a new video on demand.
James, that sounds so convenient. Tell me more.
You can browse to www.youtube.com. Do we even wait? What is our URL? Let me. I know I don't because like on Facebook you get to pick, but I don't know about on YouTube.
We don't even know enough to like make fun of ourselves. That's sad.
Let me see. Oh. Hold on. Hold on. Checking.
We need hold music, by the way. Let's get the intern on that.
Oops, sorry. Yeah, no, we don't have a custom URL. Wow, that stinks. You have to like search for the Word Podcast. Whatever. Anyway, boy, we're approaching our longest show ever here. But let's do this. The Word Podcast is on YouTube. It is soon to be on iTunes as soon as I can figure out how to use the internet.
I blame Tim Cook.
Yeah, that was actually supposed to be a part of their recent, whatever their stupid Apple event is.
They had that going on. They had the whole FBI thing. They've been a little busy. They'll get back to us, I'm sure.
I mean, just text me back on iOS. I have an iPhone, dude. Anyway, the Word Podcast, you can watch it live on demand on YouTube, live and on demand on YouTube. Monday nights will be. Yeah, you definitely want to watch it live and then watch it again. I know we have a couple of people that do that, and I'm just like, really?
They got to find the Easter eggs.
That's right. Yeah, we.
Also, if you play us backwards and sync it up with Dark Side of the Moon, it's very enlightening.
See, that's actually something that we need a studio. Hey, somebody, Melissa. There's nobody back there.
Melissa.
Okay.
And we have to do a live. We have to do a live show this September. Got to happen.
Wait. Yeah. Did you firm up your plans? I don't see anything.
I'm coming to the ATL. I'm coming.
No, but I'm saying I didn't. For some reason, I feel like I put it on my calendar and now I can't find it. But did you tell me the dates?
Yeah. We'll talk offline.
Okay.
I don't want people knowing my schedule and
Rich, James, look, that's a great bullet point, but can we just get to that offline? We got to get back to the agenda right now. Thanks.
We got to
Okay.
get this episode of Rave on. If you guys can handle this offline, please.
You don't even start with me, I swear. Do not try to get me riled up.
Oh,
We need to do it. I need to. I want to
just
get.
have a show called Riled Up, and it's just me saying like moderately complicated things to you, and you're freaking out.
Like, Jessamine. Did you ever meet Jessamine? She was. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
See, look at you. Now I'm dropping names. This is the kind of stuff. Ridiculous. Okay. Stopping the broadcast. Thank y'all for watching.
Thank y'all. Wow.
Yeah, I know that was out of
tonight.
that came out of nowhere.
I know. Can you dig it?
Yeah, that's something.
Are you the first person from Kenya to ever say y'all?
No, my sister.
Yeah,
well, I guess
Jen's older than you, right?
No, I'm the oldest, but I was born in Kenya. She's not technically. She's of Kenyan descent. I'm gonna get a punch to the face for saying this on the air, because we're very proud to be Kenyan, all of us.
Why wouldn't?
But
you?
Yeah.
Listen,
I mean,
why wouldn't you be?
No, I know. I'm just saying she's gonna say, "Well, you think you're better than me because you were born in Kenya."
Like, yeah. No, I just think I'm better than you because I'm better than you.
Ooh, you see, you have a younger sister.
I just trying to stir shit up right now.
Yeah, you see, and you're gonna get me killed. This is a game out here.
Somehow, I've never met your sister. You kept me away.
Let's see.
She was She was in New York when we were in college.
Yeah, because when we were in college, she was in Boston. Actually, she graduated a year before me. Speaking of being better than people, she graduated early. She graduated a year before I did, and then she moved to New York straight away, like 2 weeks after graduation. Boom, New York. And then she's really been there most of the time since, and a couple stints overseas, and then in North Carolina. But so let's do this. Yeah, we're gonna do a live show, but no, we need to do. Yeah, we're gonna have to shoot some skits. We're gonna have to hire people for when we're together and just go marathon like they do on like those sketch comedy shows where they shoot the whole show in like a week.
Oh,
it's just miserable. It just seems like such a miserable thing. They got to shoot it all, right? And then that's it. Like you've done everything, and then that's our content for the season. Yeah. Oof, well, for Richard Bruce Condé Nast Abernathy.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm breaking out all the stops today. I am James Mundia. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week, and we'll have a plan.
Or will we?
We don't know. Yeah, if we can flesh out this Olympics plan, then we'll be back.
If you don't see us for a couple weeks, just assume that we were kidnapped and forced to go to the Olympics.
And it also means that nothing in sports happened if we're not on the air.
That too. But we're going to have to recap the NBA draft. Big things are going to happen.
Okay.
Summer League will have started. I'll have some unknown undrafted shooting guard that scored 30 points that I'm going to be excited about. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on.
Summer League. Oh my gosh. Why? That's what I'm talking about. There's too much sports.
And I'm going to be in the land next Monday, so we're going to have to do a show.
What are you doing there?
Technically, I'll be in Akron hanging with LeBron, but I'm gonna be in Akron next Monday.
What are you doing in Akron?
It's a work thing.
What kind of a work thing? Is there an event up there?
Yeah, it's been up there. So I'm gonna be in Akron. So we'll have to I'll have to go downtown, make sure the city of Cleveland is still standing.
I don't know, man.
The apocalypse is not.
I don't know. It's gonna be a tough bet.
May have to have a live report.
FaceTime. We're gonna bring you in via FaceTime. I guess we can actually do it via Hangouts.
Yeah. The Dave Chappelle thing where he's like, they go to the guy on the scene, and it always takes the guy on the scene a minute. It's like, Reg, what's going on out there? Hi, Bob.
Chappelle.
That's what I want us to have. He was at Game 7 last night.
Is that right?
They showed him. Yeah, it was fantastic.
I was watching Game of Thrones. We didn't get this in the show today, but it took almost an hour for the Game of Thrones live stream to start working because I have the app.
Yeah.
Oof, the internet, man. The internet, man. The internet was going. I was actually very entertaining because the internet, Twitter was losing its mind. And
So how is that different from any other random hour time period?
That's true. That's true. And but it was just because I was searching and watching the live search results load of the HBO Now app, and it was just, it was gold. It was incredible. I think I retweeted one or two of them. Okay.
There's a skip there, by the way. File that away.
Yeah, you're telling me. Especially when you mess people's Game of Thrones. I mean, I had to woosah. I was like, all right, calm down, because it's not kind of like your Sunday thing, and then if it's taken away, you're like, okay, don't freak out, because the next thing you're gonna do is go to bed and go to work, so you want to end on a high note.
Yeah.
And so the fact that I was potentially not gonna have Game of Thrones, God, I sound like this is so yuppie. Can somebody? All right, let me just stop.
Speaking of ending on a high note, we did not do that with the show. Let's go.
All right.
Let's get out while we still can.
And we will see you. Next week. Okay.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe.